So ESPN has been counting down the top 100 players in the NBA, and today they released the top 10. The Lakers have the top 2 spots with LeBron and AD. How about that? Last year, Giannis claimed the top spot. Remember, Kawhi was 2. I believe LeBron was 3.
Yep,
but he has reclaimed the title. It's the 9th time in 10 years on ESPN's list. LeBron James has been number 1. You see the rest of the top 10 right there. It's pretty darn good. Giannis, how about Luka jumping to 4? Kawhi, KD, Dame, Lillard, Steph, James Harden, and Jokic.
Where's Caruso?
Caruso's 12th, I believe.
Okay.
So listen, AD was 5th on that list. After one season together, they're now 1-2. What do you think? Did they get it right? Do they deserve to be 1-2 on this list, Brez? What are you going to say?
They got it right. The other day on the show, I predicted Giannis would be 1 and those guys would be 2 and 3 because there's kind of like a media bias towards Giannis. People love him. All right, he got the MVP in a landslide. He got the Defensive Player of the Year award in a landslide. AD should have got several more votes than he did. He was a distant second. I figured ESPN would kind of fall into that trap. We love Giannis. Might be his last year in Milwaukee. He's young. He's good at both ends. ESPN got it right. Those two guys should have vaulted from 3 and 5 to 1 and 2.
BT, KD is back. Guys are motivated. Kawhi is motivated. Giannis got knocked out. Are you going 1 and 2, LeBron, AD?
Hey, man, I'm motivated. How about that? Okay? No, I am. When you win an NBA championship, obviously there's a reason behind that, and that's because of AD and LeBron James. What I am a little surprised by is that KD was 6 only because he hasn't played a whole year. So if he hasn't played, how good is he really? He was not any good last year because, well, he didn't play in the game.
Yeah. I think you got to
So that's my only surprise. We just don't know yet. But AD and LeBron James won a title, 1 and 2. So that's the best ranking for them to be in right now, without a doubt.
So listen, ESPN counted down the top 100. The Lakers not only had 1 and 2, they ended up having 6 total players make that list. Montrezl Harrell came in at 76. KCP was 77. Dennis Schroeder 79. Marc Gasol still on that top 100.
Still holding on.
They had him at 96. Pretty impressive roster right there, Brez.
Yeah, it's a testimony to the Laker front office. You know, we've talked about them time and again on these shows. They did a lot of really good work with not a lot of capital. It's not like they had a good young lottery player who was on the team in the last year or two, not getting a ton of time that they could dangle. I mean, they turned Danny Green and a late first-round pick into Dennis Schroeder. And then they went out and they signed Montrezl Harrell with their big free agent tool, spending-wise. I didn't even consider him. I figured he was going to be back with the Clippers for like 17, 18, 19 million a year. I mean, these have been coups for the Lakers to get these guys filled in with Wesley Matthews. Great work. And Marc Gasol, of course, great work by the Laker front office.
Go ahead, BT.
Without a doubt, this is why the Lakers are the favorites to repeat. And as Brad says, Rob Pelinka did a great job. But let's not forget Kurt Rambis. He was also involved in this. He's just a special assistant. But the idea that they have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in the top 100? I mean, Bresnahan could make the top 1 million on anyone's board. But we do have this right here with these guys. And I think ESPN got it right. Why not agree with them sometimes? Like I don't agree with Bresnahan any of the time. But it's good for the Lakers because now they know they have weapons up and down the board. Everywhere you can look, center, guard, forwards, off the bench, starting. They will be a tough team to beat.
Listen, fellas, the season starts in just under 2 weeks, right, Brez? December 22nd. It's coming. We have friends that watch this show that you want to hear about other teams. So let's take the Lakers out of it. What's your most intriguing NBA storyline? You can go first, BT.
Well, it's Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. They also have a first-year coach, Steve Nash. I want to see how they put that team together. They have a lot of talent on that team, but they're in a pretty good, tough conference. Let's be honest now. The East is not weak. They're tough up top with Boston, Milwaukee. Philadelphia will be better. But those two guys have won titles. They're playing together for the first time because KD's coming back from injury. Kyrie didn't play their full season because he was hurt. How they learn to merge and get consistency together will be the key to them. They will be tough to beat. But I want to see how they get it all mixed with a first-year coach, Steve Nash.
Brez, what about for you? Number 1 storyline.
BT's going to take KD's new team. I'm going to go with his old team, the Golden State Warriors. Yep. What are they going to do? No Klay Thompson. We all know that by now. Shattering news up there in the Bay Area. But still, are they going to be maybe like a top 5 team in the West? Are they going to be in the play-in to get a playoff spot? Or are they just going to kind of say, we're kind of a middling, maybe barely squeaking in. Maybe we just kind of rest the guys for the rest of the year and go for another lottery pick. Fascinated to see what they do. I think they have too much talent to not make the playoffs, or at least the 10-team play-in. Remember, it's 10 teams this year. Kind of a cool concept. But curious to see what happens up there. Still can't believe Clay out for another year.
Still makes me sad, Brez.
Yeah,
Still makes
awful.
me sad. LeBron James, another NBA championship, another MVP Finals award, and now he's been named by Time Magazine as the Athlete of the Year, not just for his work on the court, but for his voice during racial injustice and for launching More Than a Vote, a much-deserved honor. And we've said it repeatedly, and it's worth acknowledging once again. LeBron James has used his platform, guys, to inspire people and work for change. And his legacy off the court is perhaps greater than what he does on the court, Brez.
Yeah, and what an honor for him. It's one thing to be the SI Person of the Year, but now you're talking Time Magazine, obviously a big crossover there for him, and much deserved. I realize how important this guy was off the court right after the Lakers acquired him, a couple of years ago via free agency, and he announced the I Promise charter school back in his hometown of Akron, Ohio, and that was a big investment. Some people reported upwards of $50 million. And so that's a big deal right there for him to do something like that. And of course, it's continued since then with the Get the Vote Out initiative, trying to get arenas throughout the country open for the big election day last month. This guy can do, there's not much more he can do off the court than he already has. Very impressive.
BT?
The idea that LeBron James decides he doesn't mind being uncomfortable, he doesn't mind stepping out of his comfort zone, and that the idea that people will criticize him for not just shutting up and dribbling the basketball, you have to respect that. He has athletes, entertainers now educating themselves. He has a younger generation of people and young men and women now understanding what it takes to be successful, to give a part of yourself to understand that it's not just about playing a sport. It's just not about singing or rapping or whatever you do. You could always do more to help your community out. And that's why I think he was the Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, because he's willing to put himself out there to help others.
We've seen big changes in LeBron over the years. Like all of us, he's learned some things along the journey. After winning his 4th NBA title, he questioned those who still doubt him, and talk expanded on that when he joined us in studio for Road Tripping.
It's the people on TV and there's writers that write that people in the basketball world really listen to. And they really believe. And I'm not going to give any of those names on this show because they don't deserve it.
You want me to? No, I'm joking.
I'll retweet it when you tweet it.
Okay.
God.
That continue to discredit or continue to not to understand what, the drive that I put into it. They talk about these players, well, he doesn't have that same drive as them, or he doesn't have that same mentality as those. If he did, and they see what I continue to accomplish. So, it was a reassurance to myself, but it was also like to the naysayers and to the haters, which will always be there, even after I'm done playing.
I'm always going to be right here.
And to Channing.
Right here.
Yeah, I hear it, I see it, and just like one of the words I've been using today, holding them accountable. Yeah. And I'm holding them accountable.
Listen, Kobe, Jordan, Tiger, Brady, whomever, all the greats, they use any slightest motivation. They remember everything. Does LeBron still have something to prove in your eyes?
No, but here's going to be his personal challenge, because he's going to try to think of something to get him motivated for this year. He had another good quote on that Road Tripping podcast. He said, hey, has anyone ever done what I've done as far as winning 2 really difficult championships? You had the one 4 years ago against Golden State, first team ever to come back from 3-1 in the finals to win it all. And then you had this year, the longest NBA season ever, took turns that nobody could have ever fathomed. Now he can say, all right, shortest layoff ever for any championship team. So he can kind of motivate himself by that. Go ahead, LeBron, use that if you'd like. But that would be just another thing. He doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. But if he does get that one for the thumb this year, he could, again, say short layoff, another long championship run.
None of these guys ever have anything to prove. I agree with Brez. But I think LeBron, like so many of these greats, you have to have that thing that gets you up and working
Whatever
out. If not, you'd be on the beach drinking a margarita.
like BT.
And Baja.
Look, people think he's too old to win another championship. He'll be 36 at the end of this month. So what he has to prove is to himself that, yes, I can win a title. I can win another one, the fifth one. Brass, he signed a 2-year contract extension. He didn't sign that just to hang out and drink margaritas with you in studio on the beach. He wants to, it can be. I've seen that before. He wants to win at least 3 more championships while he's under contract. So that's what he's trying to prove, that he can do that with the Lakers, and he can do that for himself. And if he wins 3 more, Brass, how many will that be, Mike Brazilian?
Same as Robert Horry?
7.